But, Joe, Ohio State absolutely dominates Tennessee. We talked about this last night, but to recap it again, we've been able to go back and watch the film. We've been able to go back and watch it. I guess your thoughts on how that game went and Ohio State was so dominant.
My biggest takeaway from this, and I brought this up last night, and I feel even more confident about it now after I watched the tape. Ohio State is right now my favorite to win the national title. Woo! I think that they're going to win the national championship. I think that the way that they played is the best out of the 4 teams. That is the most complete dominant performance I think I've seen all season long. They went up against a good Tennessee team. I don't want to hear anyone downplay the quality of Tennessee's roster, and Ohio State fans should not want to downplay the quality of Tennessee's roster. Mm-hmm. They were very talented front to back with some deficiencies that Ohio State very, very effectively accentuated. That version of Ohio State has every possibility to knock off and to dominate every team that they see, and more importantly, beat any good team that they face off with. It was the perfect marriage, Blake, of a really well-rounded roster, athletic at every single position group, and a perfectly schemed game. Chip Kelly was in his bag. That was one of the best called games that I can remember in recent memory. I went back, and when I was watching the play calling, you mentioned this, it wasn't anything that was overtly complex, but it was so well-timed. Everything that they did was so well-timed. They set so much bait up for them to come back with counters to the opposite side of the field. It was just the perfect measure of misdirection and just a little bit of confusion that hung out an aggressive downhill game, especially in the run game, that hung out a very aggressive and athletic defense out to dry. So, man, I think if Ohio State can stay focused and they can be that locked in and they can fire off the ball the way that they did, they're a national champion.
Let me pause you on one thing. Okay. Do I think that they have the talent to win a national title? Without a doubt. Do I think that they have the playmaking ability, the coaching staff? Do they have everything to win a national title this year? 100%. But Dylan Sampson did go out in that game, okay? And when they could not establish the run, it was over. It was completely over, to the part where you had the SEC Player of the Year that was out, could not go anymore. And they made Nico beat him from the pocket, and he could not do it. Quite simply could not do it. It's not his game. It's not been Tennessee. You're going up against Dylan Gabriel in 10 days, whatever it is. It's a completely different beast. They're not one-dimensional. Tennessee is one-dimensional. No. They're not one-dimensional at all. They can get after you. Where I agree with you, I think that they can win a national title. There's no way to dispute that at all. I just don't want to go there yet. I'm not in reference to saying that they're the favorite. I'm not going there because I've seen you still have games against more
weaker.
I didn't want to say it like that, but yes, weaker teams and not come to play. You're right about this. Chip Kelly was in his bag, but why was he in his bag? They did not do anything special from a play calling, passing game standpoint. Joe, they're in zone. They run a corner route. Perfect call for that. They kept going to it. The drag routes on third down. Jeremiah Smith. I tweeted this to you. How many times is Tennessee going to allow Jeremiah Smith to be wide ass open on a drag route? How many times? Joe, in the first half, it was 3 times on third down. By the way, he had 6 catches. So half of his catches came on third down on drag routes. That's number 2. But here's the thing for me that I want to really point out. Okay, I thought that Ohio State they played to their strength for the first time this season. When I watch Ohio State, I felt like that they didn't want to be pass happy, right? They wanted to be balanced. Why throw it to these freaks on the outside? Why? Will Howard is good enough to throw the fade to Jeremiah Smith, who can separate. He 1,000% is. This dude is on another planet. And if I'm getting Ibuka and all the others, okay, that can be involved in this, they're a dangerous weapon. I still believe that they can hit another notch offensively. That's how talented I think that they are with the weapons they have a receiver. They're not – here's the crazy part about Ohio State.
Yeah.
I still don't think that they've hit their peak offensively. Now, maybe it's because of the running game, but I don't think that they've hit their peak in the sense of I knew that secondary for Tennessee was going to be doo-doo. And our ways to win for Ohio State, what was our game plan? Both of us.
It was
throw the ball around. And you did. Now you kind of took the foot off the pedal when you were fully dominating that game, and good on you. But listen, I think that they just have better dudes than everybody around them. That doesn't mean that you win a national title just because you have better dudes. Joe, let me tell you this. I'm going to make a bold statement.
Okay.
I've seen receiving corps like this before with my own eyeballs, and I've seen them transform things. I saw one last year, if I'm being honest with you, and I saw one 5 years ago. They are that talented. Jeremiah Smith alone makes them that talented.
I know we don't want to go super long on these, but like you just mentioned there that they have the dudes. And you can't purely just win by having the guys, because that's what happened against Michigan, where they were out schemed. They were out prepared. They overthought the preparation for the game. They decided to run right at Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, and that didn't work. The way that for me, and this is like I was watching the film and I was getting juiced up watching it, because every single time on defense and on offense, they were flying off the ball. Like the ball was snapped and they were going 110 miles an hour. That is what I'm getting at here and why they played so well. We're not talking about a game where they won by 10. We're talking about a game where they dominated an opponent that was one of the best teams in the country, one of the best teams in the SEC. This is no fluke opportunity that Tennessee was given, even though some people want to act like they didn't belong there. Ha. We made the same comments about SMU and Indiana. It's not the same shit. It's not the same shit at all. The way that they played and were able to produce that result, it all comes down to, in agreement with what you just said, they have the dudes. And when they're this motivated, which it feels like the way that they're talking right now, the way that you hear them talk after and before the game, they seem really, really upset with what happened against Michigan in a good way. And they're rallying behind it. They're not. That was what I said here.
Intensity.
And my last part with this, when we did the segment of how Ohio State wins it, and I brought up in those past couple of weeks, if they come out here and they play a really damn good game and they dominate Tennessee, I know that they're on that national championship trajectory. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm sticking to it.
The best thing that might have happened to them is that loss to Michigan.
Which is insane to consider. It's true.
In reference to Tennessee, we didn't spend a lot of time on them. The only thing that I'd say about Tennessee, you got to figure something out offensively.
Go get Zachariah Branch. Throw a lot of money at Zachariah Branch. That's the first thing
I don't think that that's the issue. Go back and watch that all 22 in the second half on the drive coming out. Nico misses 3 wide open dudes, and Heupel is all over him. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? It's a slant.
Okay.
Hot take. He's a young quarterback, but Joe, he's staring down a wide open receiver.
Right. He's also not getting a lot of separation from his guys on other plays, though, too.
Joe,
it's kind of a mix of both.
There's not going to be a lot of separation against a team like that. Doesn't mean you don't throw it. Joe, when he came out and they scored that touchdown on the 16-play drive, what did he do? He went 4 of 6. He let that bitch fly.
Yeah, he was a lot more aggressive.
Michael Jordan style.
He's
got to let it rip, brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's got to let it rip. He's too passive right now. That's their problem. Okay. Probably that cracked helmet he got. God, dog. That dang cracked this helmet. Jack Sawyer might be their third or fourth best player. That's the crazy thing in all of this.
Right. 100%. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. Bet online, where the game starts.